Welcome to Coding with Tom. On our previous video, we included perks in our application. Now we're going to be firing a local notification when the cooldown time of those perks is up. We'll also be adding an action so that when we tap on the action, it will use the perk. Let's start by creating the notification service. For now, our service will only be responsible of scheduling local notification for a perk. Before we actually schedule the notification, one must always ask for the settings of notification, since the user at any time can change the notification permissions of the app. So first, if it's not determined, that means that the user has neither denied nor allowed for push for notification. So we're going to request for permission. And for every other case, it means we can send notification, so we'll just schedule the local notification for a perk. To begin with, we'll create a UN mutable notification content. Here we will add a title that will be displayed with the notification, a body with the message, and we'll add a category identifier. Let's leave this empty for now. We'll also need a trigger for when this local notification is going to be fired. We're going to use a time interval notification, with the value being the cooldown time of the perk. Using the ID of the perk as an identifier, the content that we just created as well as the trigger, we can now create our UN notification request and add it to the UN user notification center. Before actually scheduling any notification, we will first register a UN notification category. This is the one that we will associate to each of our perk notifications with this identifier. Now that we have our category, let's add an action. This will be the UsePerk action. It also has its own identifier and title. And as an option, we're going to require the app to be presented in the foreground. To avoid typos causing bugs, we're going to have the identifiers of this action and category in a struct. With our service ready, now let's create a use case to schedule that notification. Here we just use the schedule notification method from our notification service. Then in the UsePerk use case, at the end, we use this new use case to schedule the notification. Now let's fire this. By the way, the harvest is firing so fast because I reduced the cooldown time from 20 to 5 seconds. There you see we have our notification. Here we have our action. Right now we tap on it, nothing happens. It just opens the app. But because we added the category identifier, that's why the app is adding those actions to the notification. To react to the actions and the notifications, we need to conform to the UN User Notification Center delegate, and we'll receive the tapping of the action and the receive response with completion. The notification service is going to be the delegate, and then we'll communicate to other classes that a UsePerk notification was tapped through a publisher. Now, we don't want to communicate just a string. We need this to be a little bit more verbose, telling it's going to be the perk identifier. So for that, we're going to be using a type alias. We are still going to pass a string, but at least whoever is using this protocol will know that it's a perk identifier. Okay, so in our did receive, we're going to check that the action identifier in the response is the one that we're expecting. If so, then we will communicate the identifier in the notification request, which, as you remember, it's the perk identifier. We will send that through our pass-through publisher. Now that we expose the publisher in the service, we need a use case to access this publisher. Having this use case, now we just need one that will sync the tapping of the user notification with actually using the perk. Now that we have our sync use case, all that's left is just starting it. To do that, it's best to use the app delegate since we know that this one is going to always be there, and we can call our use case as soon as the app starts. Let's try running this. Let's tap on our harvest. Now get the action. Let's pull to reveal it, and there we go. Tapping on the action, use the perk. Now, if you see the console, we're getting a warning because we're not calling the completion handler. This one is passed in the delegate methods of the UN user notification center delegate. We need to call them to let the system know that we are done handling those notifications. And that was all for today. Adding actions to notifications just means that you need to create a category for those, an action, and then conform to UN user notification center delegate to listen to what the user is doing with the notifications. And that was all. Hope you liked it. Bye.